So it's finally here. It's finally here. The Caitlyn Clark logo. I just realized I haven't even put on my light. But the logo is officially revealed.
Caitlyn Clark just dropped her official Nike logo, and the basketball world is buzzing with opinions. After months of speculation and what many fans consider disrespectful silence from Nike, the Iowa sensation turned WNBA phenom finally has her own branded identity. The reveal came through a simple tweet that sent shockwaves through the sports community, showcasing a minimalist CC design that's already drawing comparisons to high-end fashion brands. But this moment represents so much more than just a logo. It's a statement about where women's basketball is headed and whether Nike is finally ready to fully invest in its biggest star. The logo itself is a sleek, intertwined double C that manages to be both simple and sophisticated. While some fans immediately fell in love with the clean aesthetic, others needed time to warm up to it. The design philosophy seems to lean heavily into elegance rather than aggression, which sets it apart from many traditional basketball logos. It's the kind of mark you might expect to see on a luxury handbag rather than a basketball shoe, and that might be exactly the point. Clark has always transcended the sport in terms of her marketability and appeal, and this logo seems designed to capture that broader cultural impact. The minimalist approach also ensures it won't look dated in 5 years, a crucial consideration for what Nike hopes will be a long-term partnership. What's particularly interesting is the timeline Nike has laid out. T-shirts featuring the new logo are set to drop on October 1st, priced at $40 per shirt. That price point has already sparked debate among fans who feel it's too steep for basic merchandise. The real prize, though, is what's coming in 2026, Clark's signature shoe. Reports suggest Nike is planning to time the release with the WNBA season, which would put Clark in her third year as a professional when her shoe hits the market. For context, that's actually relatively quick in the world of signature basketball shoes, though it feels like an eternity given Clark's immediate impact on the sport. The development process for a signature shoe typically takes 18 to 24 months, which means Nike likely started serious work on Clark's shoe shortly after her rookie season began. The journey to this moment hasn't been without controversy. Earlier this year, Connor McCaffrey, Clark's boyfriend and a former Iowa baseball player, publicly called out Nike for what he perceived as their failure to properly recognize and market Clark. His tweets reflected a frustration shared by many fans who watched Clark shatter viewership records and pack arenas while seemingly being overlooked by her own sponsor. The fact that other players from her draft class had already secured signature shoe deals only added fuel to the fire. It seemed like Nike was missing an obvious opportunity with one of the most marketable athletes in women's sports. McCaffrey's public criticism was particularly notable because athletes and their inner circles rarely call out sponsors so directly, suggesting the frustration had reached a boiling point. This delay becomes even more puzzling when you consider Clark's rookie season performance. She didn't just meet expectations, she obliterated them, leading the Indiana Fever back to playoff relevance while breaking attendance records wherever she played. Clark proved she wasn't just a college sensation, but a legitimate professional star. Her games regularly outdrew NBA matchups in terms of television viewership, and her jersey became one of the best-selling in WNBA history. The business case for giving her a signature line seemed obvious to everyone except, apparently, Nike's decision-makers. Some insiders suggest the delay might have been strategic, allowing Nike to gauge whether Clark's popularity would sustain beyond the initial hype, but this cautious approach risked alienating both Clark and her massive fan base. The economics of Clark's impact can't be overstated. During her rookie season, games featuring Clark averaged over 1 million viewers, with some reaching as high as 2.5 million. For comparison, many NBA regular season games struggle to hit those numbers. Arenas that typically saw 4,000 fans for WNBA games were suddenly selling out 15,000-seat venues when Clark came to town. The Indiana Fever saw a 300% increase in season ticket sales before Clark even played her first professional game. These aren't just impressive numbers for women's basketball, they're impressive numbers for any sport. Yet Nike seemed hesitant to fully capitalize on this phenomenon. The logo reveal has inevitably led to comparisons with other WNBA players' branding. Sabrina Ionescu's logo, with its dynamic S design, is widely considered the gold standard in the league. Angel Reese's AR logo, which dropped earlier this year, also received praise for its bold, athletic aesthetic. Then there's A'ja Wilson's logo, which has been less warmly received and often gets mentioned as what not to do in logo design. Clark's CC mark falls somewhere in the middle of this spectrum, though opinions vary wildly on exactly where. The design process for these logos is more complex than many realize, often involving months of iterations and focus group testing to find the perfect balance between athleticism and marketability. What makes Clark's logo particularly intriguing is its versatility. Unlike some basketball logos that scream sports, the CC mark could easily transition into lifestyle products. This might be a strategic move by Nike, recognizing that Clark's influence extends far beyond the basketball court. She's become a cultural phenomenon, someone whose impact is felt in conversations about women's sports, gender equity, and the future of basketball. A logo that can work on both a basketball shoe and a designer collaboration makes perfect sense for an athlete of her stature. Industry experts have noted that the most successful athlete brands are those that can transcend their sport, and Clark's logo seems designed with this principle in mind. The $40 price tag for the initial t-shirts has become a talking point in its own right. In an era where official merchandise prices continue to climb, fans are pushing back against what they see as excessive pricing. Some have pointed out that independent sellers offer similar quality shirts for a fraction of the cost. Others argue that this is simply the reality of licensed sports merchandise, and that the price reflects both the Nike brand and Clark's star power. Either way, it's likely these shirts will sell out quickly despite the complaints. The pricing strategy also reflects Nike's positioning of Clark as a premium athlete brand, similar to how they've marketed LeBron James or Cristiano Ronaldo merchandise. Looking ahead to 2026, the signature shoe release represents a massive opportunity for both Clark and Nike. The women's basketball shoe market has historically been underserved, with most female players wearing modified versions of men's shoes. Clark's signature line could help change that narrative, especially if Nike invests in technology and design specifically tailored to women's basketball players. The 2-year development timeline actually suggests Nike might be taking this seriously, using the time to create something special rather than rushing a generic product to market. Sources close to the development process suggest Nike is investing significant resources into research specifically focused on women's biomechanics and performance needs. The timing of the shoe release also coincides with what could be a pivotal moment in Clark's career. By her 3rd WNBA season, she'll likely have established herself as one of the league's premier players. If the trajectory of her rookie year continues, she could be an MVP candidate, an Olympic gold medalist, and the face of women's basketball by the time her shoes drop. Nike seems to be betting on her continued ascension, positioning the shoe release to maximize impact. The 2026 timeline also aligns with the next FIBA Women's Basketball World Cup, providing a global stage for the launch. There's also the question of what this means for the broader landscape of women's sports marketing. Clark's deal, despite the initial delays, represents a significant investment by Nike in women's basketball. The fact that she's getting a signature shoe at all puts her in rare company. Throughout the WNBA's history, only a handful of players have received signature shoes, and even fewer have seen commercial success with them. Clark's mainstream appeal could change that dynamic. Marketing experts predict that Clark's shoe could be the first women's signature basketball shoe to achieve significant sales in the men's market as well, breaking down traditional gender barriers in sports merchandise. The cultural impact of Clark's rise extends beyond just merchandise sales. She's become a symbol of what's possible when women's sports receive proper investment and promotion. Her college career at Iowa demonstrated that audiences will show up for women's basketball when it's marketed correctly and features compelling personalities. The fact that she's maintained and even expanded that audience at the professional level challenges long-held assumptions about the commercial viability of women's sports. Every packed arena and record-breaking broadcast is a data point that leagues and sponsors can't ignore. The logo itself has grown on many fans who initially had mixed reactions. There's something to be said for a design that reveals more complexity the longer you look at it. Some observers have noted what might be a hidden 3 in the negative space, a potential reference to Clark's jersey number. Others see influences from high fashion, particularly the Chanel logo, which features similar interlocking Cs. Whether intentional or not, these associations elevate the brand beyond typical sports marketing. Design experts have praised the logo's scalability, noting that it works equally well as a small detail on a shoe or blown up on a billboard. For Nike, this release represents a chance to correct what many saw as a missed opportunity. The company has faced criticism for being slow to capitalize on the women's sports boom, particularly in basketball. While competitors have moved aggressively to sign rising stars, Nike seemed content to rest on its laurels. The Clark logo and upcoming signature shoe suggest a shift in strategy, though some argue it's too little too late. Internal sources suggest this deal has sparked broader conversations within Nike about their approach to women's sports, potentially leading to more aggressive investments in female athletes across all sports. The reaction from Clark herself has been notably measured. Her simple tweet announcing the logo didn't include any elaborate statement or emotional message. This understated approach fits with her public persona, focused on the game rather than the glamour. It also leaves room for the logo to speak for itself, allowing fans to form their own connections with the brand. Those close to Clark say she was heavily involved in the design process, rejecting several more elaborate concepts in favor of the clean, simple approach that was ultimately chosen. The business implications of this deal extend far beyond just shoe sales. Clark's partnership with Nike includes provisions for basketball camps, community programs, and grassroots development initiatives. This holistic approach recognizes that building a lasting brand requires more than just selling products. It requires creating genuine connections with fans and giving back to the sport. Clark has already announced plans for a series of youth camps in underserved communities, using her platform to expand access to basketball. As October 1st approaches, the real test will be market response. Will fans embrace the $40 t-shirts despite the price complaints? Will the logo become as iconic as Nike hopes? And most importantly, will the 2026 signature shoe live up to the hype that's already building? These questions won't be answered immediately, but the foundation has been laid for what could be a transformative partnership in women's sports. Early indicators suggest strong pre-order interest, with some retailers already preparing for potential sellouts. The broader implications extend beyond just Clark and Nike. Every young girl who watches Clark play and then sees her logo on merchandise receives a message about what's possible. The normalization of women having signature shoes and branded merchandise helps push the entire sport forward. It's not just about selling products. It's about changing perceptions and creating role models. Youth basketball participation among girls has already seen a significant spike in markets where Clark has played, demonstrating her influence on the next generation. The technical aspects of developing a signature shoe for a female athlete present unique challenges that Nike will need to address. Women's feet are structurally different from men's, with different pressure points and biomechanical needs. Historically, women's basketball shoes have been afterthoughts. Men's shoes made in smaller sizes and different colors. Clark's signature line has the opportunity to change this paradigm, potentially incorporating technology specifically designed for female athletes. This could include different cushioning systems, modified ankle support, and sizing that better reflects the diversity of women's feet. The marketing strategy around Clark's brand will also be crucial to watch. Nike has traditionally marketed women's products differently than men's, often focusing on lifestyle and fashion elements rather than pure performance. With Clark, they have an opportunity to blend both approaches. She's undeniably a performance athlete who demands the best technology, but she's also become a style icon whose pre-game outfits regularly go viral on social media. Finding the right balance will be key to maximizing her brand's potential. In the end, Clark's logo reveal marks the beginning of a new chapter rather than a conclusion. The minimalist CC design might not have the immediate impact of some other logos, but it has room to grow and evolve with Clark's career. As she continues to break records and push boundaries on the court, this simple mark will become increasingly associated with excellence, determination, and the future of basketball. The wait might have been longer than anyone wanted, but sometimes the best things are worth waiting for. Now the basketball world watches to see if Nike can deliver on the promise this logo represents, and whether this partnership can truly change game for women's sports marketing forever.